At an international robotics competition, just as I was sharing my theory, a woman interrupted me arrogantly. Today, let me show you what cutting-edge technology really looks like. She raised her chin proudly, unveiling her robot and displaying its impressive parameters with complete confidence. I'm the undisputed champion of this international competition. The judges immediately erupted in excitement. Oh my God, this is incredible. It's a generation ahead of current technology. But as I looked at the parameters, I fell into deep thought. These were clearly my experimental data. The only people who knew the password were me and my husband, Songyu. I stepped forward, pointing at the robot, and asked, "Impressive data, but are you sure this is a robot you developed yourself?" She glanced at me disdainfully. "What, do you think it's yours? If it were yours, would it respond if you called its name?" I smiled faintly, my gaze landing on the robot. "Xiaozhen, kick the person in front of you." The audience laughed, shaking their heads at me. This is Dr. Shi's robot. How could it belong to anyone else? Just because her theories and research aren't as advanced, she's picking a fight? That's so classless. Shi Qing glanced at me with a hint of mockery. This robot of mine uses the latest AI technology. It's not something. Her words were abruptly cut off as the metallic robot lifted its leg and kicked Shi Qing. It happened so fast that she couldn't react in time. With a cry of ouch, she clutched her lower back in pain. The experts, scholars, and company bosses in the audience fell silent instantly, their faces filled with shock. After kicking her, the robot's screen displayed a bracket-shaped smiley face and proudly shouted, "Xiaozhen has completed the task." I couldn't help but laugh. "Good job, Xiaozhen." The smiley face on the robot's screen deepened. I looked up at Shi Qing, my expression turning cold. This is my lab's latest home and combat integrated robot, still in the research and development phase. How exactly did it end up with you? The previously admiring experts and scholars also turned to Shi Qing with puzzled expressions. "Yes, what's going on here?" Shi Qing's face darkened completely. In a fit of anger, she kicked Xiaozhen in frustration. A useless piece of junk that can't even recognize its master. The robot whimpered. "Xiaozhen is not useless." Shi Qing stepped forward, scrutinizing me, then turned to the crowd. "The robot is currently in an open state. Anyone calling it Xiaozhen would get a response." I just forgot about that earlier. Then, looking at me with a cold smile, she added, "You might have found out about this somewhere, and come here to slander me. Don't believe me? Everyone, try calling Xiaozhen and see what happens." As she spoke, she pulled out a contract and held it up. It was clearly an agreement between Ruixin Intelligent Lab and Tianda Technology for the joint development of intelligent robots. Shi Qing raised her chin proudly. "I am the head of Ruixin Lab. The contract is here. How could it be fake?" My mind reeled. This contract had only ever been handled by Songyu and me. For years, I had devoted myself to AI technology day and night, gifting my patents to Tianda Technology for free, allowing Songyu to become a well-known tech mogul in less than 5 years. Back then, he said we would walk hand in hand to the pinnacle of the robotics field. But now, he had allowed another woman to take credit for my achievements, steal my identity, and shine here in the spotlight. Rage ignited in my chest. The crowd buzzed with Yilin. Someone said, "No one would dare forge a contract. Tianda Technology is one of the top companies in the industry. This contract is credible." It seems what Dr. Shi said is true. Inevitably, some turned to me with judgmental and disapproving looks. My fingers trembled involuntarily, but I refused to give up. I pressed Shi Qing. "Where did this contract come from? Did Songyu give it to you?" Shi Qing sneered. "I wanted to keep a low profile, but I might as well tell everyone now. I am Songyu's wife. We share common interests, with one focusing on experiments and the other on running the company." I was so angry I laughed. If what she said was true, then who was I? I couldn't hold back any longer. I immediately called Songyu. "Songyu, I hear you have a wife named Shi Qing. Why don't you tell me when exactly you two got married?" My voice was steady and forceful, capturing everyone's attention. On the other end of the line, Songyu replied impatiently, "What nonsense are you talking about?" and hung up. Shi Qing smirked, stepping forward to point at me. So you're slandering me and making a big scene just to seduce my husband and become a homewrecker? You probably got some random phone number and pretended to make a call. The educated crowd in the room looked at me with disdain. This is morally repugnant and shameless. How can someone so unethical even talk about scholarship? In an instant, I became the target of everyone's criticism. But my anger had gradually subsided, replaced by a chilling calm. I glanced at my watch. 30 seconds left. I looked at Shurqing. Her dark eyes were filled with mockery and disgust, but I just smiled faintly. You say this robot is from your lab. Since you're unveiling it here today, it must have passed all tests, right? No issues. She nodded proudly and confidently. Of course. What? You homewreckers still won't give up slandering me. Look at yourself in the mirror. What do you even have? This robot of mine is cutting-edge technology, using the latest AI. What would you know? You're just an academic fraud here to seduce men. I smiled slightly and, with good intentions, said to the people around me, I suggest everyone step back to avoid getting hurt. My seemingly random comment puzzled the other experts, who looked at me with disdain. If you're not leaving, what are you still here for, making a spectacle of yourself? You should just slink away in shame. Stubborn people. If they got hurt, it was their own fault. Before they could finish their remarks, cries of ouch, ah, and that hurts, rang out one after another. The previously stationary Xiaozhen suddenly went into Kongbal mode. Designed for combat, the robot rampaged, attacking anyone within its camera's field of view. Xiaozhen was still a prototype with flaws. If left in standby for more than half an hour, it would malfunction and indiscriminately attack. That was why I hadn't showcased it at this conference. Screams filled the venue as people were brutally kicked and punched by the metal machine. The worst injured was Shurqing, who was closest to the robot. She was knocked to the ground, writhing in pain and shouting angrily, Xiaozhen, stop. Stop right now. Panic spread. No one had expected the robot to go berserk, its combat numbly rivaling that of a special forces soldier. Someone yelled, do something. People are getting hurt. Those who had mocked me earlier were now among the victims. I couldn't help but give Xiaozhen a mental thumbs up. I had already retreated to a safe distance, watching with my arms crossed. This is Dr. Sher's robot, isn't it? Didn't she just say it's flawless? Surely Dr. Sher has a solution. Everyone turned to Shurqing, who was desperately dodging the robot's attacks. Did she look like someone with a solution? Was this really her achievement? The chaos continued for 10 minutes until hurried footsteps approached. I turned to see Song Yu leading a group of people. He frowned at the scene, then ordered his bodyguards to immediately disable Xiaozhen. It took nearly a dozen highly trained bodyguards to forcibly shut the robot down. Shurqing, bruised and disheveled, rushed to Song Yu in tears. Honey, that woman sabotaged me. You have to deal with her. Song Yu followed her pointing finger and locked eyes with me. My gaze turned icy as I confronted him. Song Yu, in such a hurry to defend your mistress? Why don't you tell everyone who the real head of the lab is and who actually developed these robots? And who made you a tech mogul in just 5 years? Forgetting your roots comes with consequences. Song Yu's forehead veins bulged. Maintaining a protective stance toward Shurqing, he gave me a cold, sinister smile. Ma'am, you've tried to seduce me before, and now you're causing trouble at my wife's robot unveiling. Do you think I'm someone to be trifled with? His words stirred the crowd. Song Yu had a solid reputation in the industry, and compared to me, a low-profile figure, his words carried more weight. This woman is shameless. She tried to seduce him, and now she's flaunting herself in front of his wife. I understood now. Song Yu had long betrayed me. Seeing the crowd turn on me, the faint smirk on his lips showed his satisfaction. So my 5 years of dedication had been for a ingrate. The affection we once shared was all a lie. Calmly, I said, and what about the robot's rampage? Everyone saw it. Who's really lying here? Shurqing had regained her composure and stubbornly insisted, that was just a minor accident. Maybe you even caused it. Some in the crowd were skeptical. Others looked at Shurqing with suspicion. How could she not know about such a glaring flaw in her own robot? Suddenly, the competition organizer answered a phone call. His face lit up as he announced, Dr. Ma and Dr. Zhao from Ruixin Lab are on their way. Now we'll find out who the real Fuizerun is. Hearing that my two assistants were coming, I was puzzled at first. But their arrival could help prove my identity. After this ordeal, I planned to revoke the patents I'd given to Tianda. Let's see how long their stock prices could hold without my support, especially with someone like Shi Qing, a fraud, at the helm. Since my assistants usually handled lab activities and contracts while I focused on core research, the organizer warmly welcomed them. As I opened my mouth to greet them, Ma Heng and Zhao Shan glanced at me and walked straight past to Shi Qing, who shot me a triumphant look. They addressed Shi Qing. We heard someone's been impersonating you here, so we came to help. Shi Qing nodded. My expression darkened as I rushed over to them. What are you doing? These two had risen from obscurity to become renowned robotics experts by being credited as co-authors on my journal papers. I had nurtured them. Suddenly, I felt disheartened. Had they betrayed me too? Ma Heng and Zhao Shan exchanged glances. Song Yu watched with a mocking smile. Ma Heng pointed at me sternly. Fake is fake. How dare you keep lying? The crowd murmured, how thick-skinned can she be? Being called out like this and still not blushing. I realized in an instant Ma Heng and Zhao Shan had long been bought off by Song Yu. The robot wasn't taken from the lab by accident. They were all conspiring to slander me and force me out. It felt like being plunged into the coldest winter. I closed my eyes briefly, then opened them, my vision clear. I heard Ma Heng say obsequiously to Song Yu. To support Dr. Shi, we brought the lab's latest robots. This proves Dr. Shi's excellence. Dozens of humanoid robots were brought on stage. The experts and scholars were stunned by the succession of robots. If all these hit the market, they'll revolutionize the era. My hard-earned Yanzhou Chengguo had become tools for Song Yu to flaunt his affection for Shi Qing. Shi Qing stood proudly at the center of the crowd, surrounded by admirers, while Song Yu faced me as her protector. Song Yu glanced sympathetically at Shi Qing's injuries and smirked cruelly at me. There was a minor incident earlier that caused misunderstandings about Qingqing. Now that Xiaozhen has been reprogrammed as a Jijang Toichuda good old Jiqirun, why don't we let this lady spar with her? Gasps erupted from the crowd. Some jeered. Great idea. If she claims she developed the robot, she should be able to handle it, right? Others shook their heads. We've seen what that robot can do. It could beat someone half to death. She tried to seduce him. Song probably wants to teach her a lesson. She deserves it. Song Yu coldly commanded, Xiaozhen, go fight the woman at 9 o'clock. The dormant robot activated. Searching for target. Target locked. The robot stepped toward me. Some in the crowd watched eagerly, anticipating my humiliation. My gaze swept over Shi Qing, Song Yu, Ma Heng, and Zhao Shan. In that moment, in the Jibai Pingfang of Balgalting, I stood alone. Under the dazzling chandelier, my shadow was solitary. The crowd's scornful Anyangwuda Mugong bore down on me like a siege. The robot's electronic eyes saw as it approached. I slowly smiled, my gaze shifting to the dozens of robots beside Song Yu. But who said I was alone? Our mode activated. Awaken. The Chenji robots lit up simultaneously, their screens flickering to life as if opening their eyes. Cameras instantly thudded me. Electronic voices rang out, firm and loyal. Master, I'm here. Master, I'm here. Master, I'm here. Even Xiaozhen, approaching me, paused. Its square screen flickered. Master, I'm here. The crowd gasped. What's happening to these robots? Why are they listening to her? Why were they listening? Because I was their creator. I gave them life. But since they were all unfinished prototypes prone to Zircong, I had embedded a line in their Diceng Krushin Daima. Upon hearing the voice command, our mode activated. Awaken. The highest priority drilling is that this person is the absolute master. Only obey her commands. The robots marched toward me, surrounding me like armored guards. The once solitary figure now stood backed by a formidable Gongtia Dajin. They waited silently for my next drilling. I looked at Song Yu, my gaze icy. You're right. These robots do need some practice. Song Yu seemed to sense what was coming and instinctively stepped back, muttering, This is impossible. They've all been reprogrammed. With 2 assistants and a fraud, Could they even touch the Dicong Krashin Logichur? They probably couldn't even find the encrypted storage disk. Casually, I raised my arm and pointed. The robot's electronic eyes followed my direction. I said calmly, "Children, that man and the 2 men and 1 woman beside him have bullied me. What should we do?" The robot nearest to me said in an angry electronic voice, "How dare they bully Master? Why we'll fight them." More electronic voices chimed in, "Master, I'll protect you. I want to go first. Don't compete with me." The robot surged towards Song Yu and Shi Qing with Chisher. Panicked, others scrambled to escape. Song Yu shouted, "Bodyguards, stop them." His face pale, he turned to my assistant Shouju. "You said everything was under control. Make them stop." Ma Heng and Zhao Shan, their faces white, yelled at the Gungtia Dajun. "Xiaoshan, stop." The robot's electronic eyes sansua. "How dare you bully Master? You're asking for it." Their nature Chengshu gave them Dingji Godo Jichao. As dozens of robots charged, Song Yu's bodyguard stood no chance. The muscular Balbelmen were quickly overpowered. The sounds of mechanical arms and legs hitting Song Yu and the others filled the air with thuds and crashes. Screams erupted. The experts and scholars hiding in corners were stunned, watching the robots systematically wayjal Song Yu and his group. Despite their attempts to flee, the robots' cameras tracked them with precision and speed. Alongside combat robots, Xiaofeng Jiqiren and Chui Jiqiren joined in, wielding water hoses and ladles as they chased Shi Qing. Shi Qing was bewildered, scurrying like a cornered mouse. Dodging a water hose, she'd be met with a ladle. Yet amidst the chaos, someone exclaimed in awe, "My God, this is a feast of Jixia Zhimei." The robots' movements are so human-like, yet their speed and Minjia Yanchal humans. How is this possible? Some academics, oblivious to the suffering of the 4, were captivated by the Kaserdai Jisoo. Song Yu, beaten to the ground, struggled to lift his head and look at me. "Meng Joshua, make them stop." I stepped closer, the robots carefully avoiding me. Looking down at his pathetic state, I chuckled, then turned my gaze to Shi Qing. "Didn't you say these were all developed by Dr. Shi? Dr. Shi, why don't you call them and see if they obey you? And since these robots were brought by you from a property rights perspective, any issues or damage caused are your and Song Yu's responsibility." Shi Qing, in pain, glared at me with no sheer hatred. "Stop! Stop!" But the robots only replied, "You evil woman! How dare you bully Master? Take this." I casually glanced at the others hiding in corners, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. I remembered many of them had insulted me earlier. "Don't you all agree?" I asked. YY, standing beside me, waved its fist for emphasis. The others trembled, terrified of becoming the robots' next targets. They quickly said, "These robots were brought by Song. Of course, any issues have nothing to do with you." I nodded approvingly. Song Yu, finally unable to bear the beating, begged, "It's my fault. You're the real developer. Make them stop." The crowd, already suspecting the truth, now heard Song Yu's admission. Murmurs spread. I glanced at him coldly. "So care to elaborate? What exactly is Shi Qing to you?" Song Yu winced in pain but hesitated, his eyes darting. Shi Qing shouted curses. "Meng Jishua, you're just using these robots to bully me. At the end of the day, you're a homewrecker." Song Yu gritted his teeth. "Fine, you're my wife. But whose fault is it that you're never home? You don't care about me." Shi Qing and I found comfort in each other. "What's wrong with that?" Suddenly, Xiaoshan's movement stuttered. Its electronic voice announced, "Program error. Program error." It tilted its screen toward Shi Qing. "My storage contains recordings of your voice." The robot played a recording. The sounds of a man and woman panting gradually subsided. A male voice, hoarse post-intimacy, said, Qing, don't worry. I've convinced Assistant Ma and Assistant Zhao. Soon, the entire Ruixin lab will be yours, including Meng Joshua's Yanzhou Chenghua. From now on, you'll be the leading expert in robotics." Shi Qing's delighted voice followed. "Honey, you're so good to me. Back when I wanted to join the lab, that old hag wouldn't even give me a chance. Now I'll trample her underfoot." Songyu chuckled. Not just the lab, I'm yours too. I've already tricked her into handing over all her patents. Soon, I'll kick her out and make you the rightful Mrs. Song. She's still in the dark, slaving away all these years for nothing. The male voice continued. Who told her to only care about research? She's no fun. Unlike you, you little tease. The female voice turned nanny. Stop it. Their sounds resumed. The recording ended. The crowd stared in shock at Song Yu and Shi Qing, sprawled on the ground. Song Yu's face was flushed red. Shi Qing still stubbornly muttered, the one not loved is the third party. The crowd couldn't hold back. Song always seemed so refined. Who knew he was not only ungrateful, but also gave his wife's hard-earned chungwa to his mistress. And just now he said Meng Joshua tried to seduce him. Clearly, he and Shi Qing were having an affair. I've lived this long, but this is a first. How can they be so shameless? Those who had scorned me now looked at me with guilt and sympathy. Tech media in attendance live-streamed the recording, cameras thrust towards Song Yu and Shi Qing. Breaking news. Look at Tianda Technologies CEO Song Yu and his mistress. Shi Qing covered her face. Go away. Stop filming. If you had the nerve to do it, now you're afraid of the shame? Where was your nerve when you bullied the wife? Soon, the news of Song Yu's affair trended. Ma Heng and Zhao Shan, their schemes exposed, stumbled over to me crying, Dr. Meng, I was blinded by greed and listened to Song Yu. I was wrong. Please, for the sake of our years together, give me another chance. I sneered. Another chance? What about the harm I've suffered? Not only are you expelled from the lab, but your actions today will be known to every lab. Your careers in research are over. Their eyes widened in despair. This farce was over. The remaining scores with Song Yu would be settled slowly. As I turned to leave, experts and entrepreneurs swarmed me, their eyes chungman-roching. Dr. Meng, the earlier misunderstanding, I'm a professor at a university specializing in robotics. I'd like to invite you for academic Jiao. Dr. Meng, I'm the technical director of Huatian Technology. We admire your expertise. Could we discuss Herezoa? I glanced at them with a faint smile. Let's talk later. I filed for divorce and had my lawyers terminate the patent contracts. Combined with the Yuland, Tianda's stocks plummeted. My robotics research progressed, and I resolved the prototype's flaws. After careful consideration, I chose a reputable company for P. Langsungtan. I anchor Yalchou Gongyi, ensuring the best user experience. But just as we prepared for launch, Song Yu, with my former assistants and Shi Qing, released Delbon robots ahead of me. Song Yu even called me. Meng Joshua, you overestimated yourself. Thanks to you driving the assistants to me, we launched 2.0 technology and fixed the issues. I'll not only dong sanzai qi, but also make you lose everything. They held a Xinwen Fa Bu Hui, claiming my chengguo as theirs. Supporters spoke up for me, but Song Yu's massive marketing spend skewed public opinion. Did you hear? Insiders say Tianda's robot tech was plagiarized, so they rushed to release theirs first at a Banmin Jagra. I heard the plagiarist is Meng Joshua, now working with Huatian Technology. Boycott Meng Joshua and Huatian. I also heard Meng Joshua relied entirely on her assistants and is actually useless. When the assistants succeeded, she claimed their work as hers and kicked them out. Exclusive scoop, Meng Joshua is an academic seductress. She slept her way to her doctorate. How could someone like her create anything good? Seeing the online backlash, Huatian's technical director panicked. Dr. Meng, many of our partners are backing out. Some have even approached Tianda. I patted his shoulder reassuringly. Don't worry. If my core technology were that easy to replicate, robots would already be everywhere. Song Yu wants a product launch? Let's use it to our advantage. As for the fence-sitters, let them go. They'll regret it later. The director gave a wry smile. You're too optimistic. Business isn't just about R&D, marketing matters. Bad code base spreads and sticks. I smiled calmly. Trust me. By the day before Song Yu's launch, pre-sales had reached 7,000 units, impressive for Galjad Chernung Champin. Tianda's stocks rebounded. Song Yu and Shi Qing appeared publicly, arm in arm, Chongman confidence. At the launch, Song Yu grandly introduced the new AI robot. Our Tianda robot not only handles Jiawu, cleaning, cooking, walking the dog, but also protects Donsundanushing. It can take down an adult male, making it your loyal guardian. The demonstrations drew gasps and camera flashes. I want one, someone shouted. Song Yu's smile widened. Anyone want to try our combat home robot? I stepped forward calmly, my voice steady. I'd like to try. Seeing me, Song Yu's face darkened. Some in the crowd recognized me with hostility. Isn't that Meng Jia, the one who drove away her assistants? What's she doing here? She has nerve showing up. Unfazed, I said, I'll try but not me, my robot. Xiao and Go. Two similar robots faced off on stage. Mine had a superior metallic gleam. Someone mocked. All show, no substance. I smiled slightly. At my command, my robot attacked. Song Yu's robot countered but was quickly defeated. The audience was stunned. It lost that fast? What happened? I didn't even see it. Meng Jia's robot won. Look. Tianda's robot's arm fell off. It's that fragile? I take back my interest in buying. Song Yu's face darkened. You're here to sabotage. Guards, remove her. He hastily reassured the crowd. A minor issue. Will Yen go bakwan? I raised a finger. No. I'm here to HN. The crowd buzzed. What's going on? Maybe there's more to this. I clapped, and my lawyer stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. On behalf of Dr. Meng Jia, I hereby pursue legal action against Mr. Song Yu for patent infringement and defamation. This is a legal notice. I turned to the crowd. Right and wrong will be decided by law. I trust justice will prevail. I'm committed to providing society with robots. Cameras flashed. Song Yu fumed. Don't listen to her. She's lying. Was I lying? 2 weeks later, the court ruled in my favor, ordering Song Yu to cease infringement, publicly apologize, and pay me 50 million yuan in damages. The verdict sparked upheaval. Tianda customers canceled orders, leading to bankruptcy. Later, Song Yu came to me, gaunt and thinning-haired. He begged forgiveness. Joshua, I was wrong. Let's start over. I can't let go of our 5 years together. I'll cut ties with Shurqing completely. With your support, I can rebuild Tianda. Let's forget the past. Please. I laughed bitterly. Song Yu, I'm not a junkyard. I don't recycle toxic waste. I had security escort him out. Just being near him felt contaminating. The next I heard of Song Yu was in the news. He'd started with Shurqing, producing robots. An electrical explosion destroyed the factory, leaving no trace of them. At an international robotics competition, just as I was sharing my theory, a woman interrupted me arrogantly. Today, let me show you what cutting-edge technology really looks like. She raised her chin proudly, unveiling her robot and displaying its impressive parameters with complete confidence. I'm the undisputed champion of this international competition. The judges immediately erupted in excitement. Oh my God, this is incredible. It's a generation ahead of current technology. But as I looked at the parameters, I fell into deep thought. These were clearly my experimental data. The only people who knew the password were me and my husband, Song Yu. I stepped forward, pointing at the robot, and asked, "Impressive data, but are you sure this is a robot you developed yourself?" She glanced at me disdainfully. "What, do you think it's yours? If it were yours, would it respond if you called its name?" I smiled faintly, my gaze landing on the robot. "Xiao Zhen, kick the person in front of you." The audience laughed, shaking their heads at me. This is Dr. Shi's robot. How could it belong to anyone else? Just because her theories and research aren't as advanced, she's picking a fight? That's so classless. Shurqing glanced at me with a hint of mockery. This robot of mine uses the latest AI technology. It's not something. Her words were abruptly cut off as the metallic robot lifted its leg and kicked Shurqing. It happened so fast that she couldn't react in time. With a cry of ouch, she clutched her lower back in pain. The experts, scholars, and company bosses in the audience fell silent instantly, their faces filled with shock. After kicking her, the robot's screen displayed a bracket-shaped smiley face and proudly shouted, "Xiao Zhen has completed the task." I couldn't help but laugh. "Good job, Xiao Zhen." The smiley face on the robot's screen deepened. I looked up at Shi, my expression turning cold. This is my lab's latest home and combat integrated robot, still in the research and development phase. How exactly did it end up with you? The previously admiring experts and scholars also turned to Shi with puzzled expressions. Yes, what's going on here? Shi's face darkened completely. In a fit of anger, she kicked Xiaozhen in frustration. A useless piece of junk that can't even recognize its master. The robot whimpered. Xiaozhen is not useless. Shi stepped forward, scrutinizing me, then turned to the crowd. The robot is currently in an open state. Anyone calling it Xiaozhen would get a response. I just forgot about that earlier. Then, looking at me with a cold smile, she added, you might have found out about this somewhere, and come here to slander me. Don't believe me? Everyone, try calling Xiaozhen and see what happens. As she spoke, she pulled out a contract and held it up. It was clearly an agreement between Ruixin Intelligent Lab and Tianda Technology for the joint development of intelligent robots. Shi raised her chin proudly. I am the head of Ruixin Lab. The contract is here. How could